Before Carthage had walls, it had water. Before it had routes. And before it had opportunity. In the early centuries, before it mattered beyond its hills, the Mediterranean was already alive with movement. Ships crossed its surface like in a vast woven cloth, carrying metals, timber, dyes, grain, and stores. The people who mastered this world were not conquerors of land, but readers of wind and tide. They were the Phoenicians. Along the eastern edge of the Mediterranean, Phoenician cities like Tyre and Sidon learned early that survival did not come from science. It came from skill. The land was narrow, squeezed between. Farm could only go far. So they outward. They built ships that could travel farther. They learned stars and seasons. They traded not just goods but reliability. Where others saw a boundary, they saw a river. As they ventured westward, they did not. They aimed to small settlements, safe harbors where ships trade. Most were modest. Some were temporary. Change history. On the north, protected from harsh winds, something, a place that worked. Fresh water was nearby. Could be defended. And most importantly, it sat across east to west, north, Africa to Europe. Carthage, the new city. At first, it was nothing impressive. No grand palace, no massive temple visible, warehouse, and near the shore. A working, a symbolic. But geography has patience. Every trader who stopped deals slowly, traffic increased. Slowly, and dependent on its Phoenician homeland. The point. In the east, Phoenicians faced growing pressure from powerful empires. Trade became less stable. Old centers weakened. And with each disruption, responsibility eastward. Carthage adapted. It began to act not as a colony, but as a hub. It was organized locally. Trade created locally. Without declaring independence, the city effectively became one. This transition mattered because Carthage, now the name the Greeks and others used, was not shaped by kings or conquest. It was shaped by necessity. Every wall built had a purpose. Every harbor expanded answered real demand. Nothing was ceremonial. Everything was practical. The sea taught Carthage its lesson of power. You do not need to own everything. By the time Carthage emerged, the city was right. It had something most ancient states never understood. March. Some it sailed. And from this quiet advantage, Carthage would begin to rise that east all central recognized. Carthage did not rise on the back of a single man. There was no crowned founder, name echoed through generations. No royal line traced back in the city's identity. It was the source of Carthage's strength. While ancient cities were built on which was on the ground. Power rested on one, but in a system shaped by merchants came from success at sea. At the heart of the city was a council, chosen not because they were born, because they had financed voyages. They understood risk. In Carthage, authority found competent. Two chief magistrates presided over the city, serving limited terms. Citizens considered moments of crisis. It was democracy in the modern sense, but it was something better in the ancient world. A system designed to prevent any one voice from Kings die. Dynasties collapse. Contracts, when honored, outlast under stability than spectacle. A traitor in Carthage. The rules would not change overnight. The city became known not for grandeur, but reliability. States and consistent were maintained. Disputes were resolved without chaos. Carthage trust into an asset. Wealth followed. Wealth came from organization. Shipbuilders defined hull design. Sailmakers improved materials to handle long voyages. Accountants tracked profits as on time. Not a glorious society. It was a professional one. But professionalism is softness. Carthage protection is an defenses first. Engineered for security as could also carry when required. Different. Carthage did not see war as a path. War used certainty. Force was a tool. When commerce threatened, shaped every inland. Local leaders, customs in exchange, ports, resources, and safe passage. By fear and flex over time created an invisible web. Iranian city to Carthage nonetheless depended on through its ships followed not raise flags over these places. It to power does not always announce itself. Sometimes it embeds itself so deeply that life without it becomes unthinkable. And as Carthage refined this model, governance, contractual expansion, and defense, it quietly became unprecedented. A city whose influence traveled far, a state that proved wealth could command respect, and a rising collide with a very different idea of strength.